A distinct privilege tonight to introduce a very distinguished person among us, and that person was a practicing criminal lawyer as a staff criminal duty counsel for Legal Aid Ontario in Toronto. He was also a federal crown attorney with the Department of Justice and Public Prosecution Service of Canada. He was counsel on behalf of the federal government in criminal prosecutions at all levels of court, including the Ontario Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court of Canada. His practice involved primarily criminal litigation and criminal appeals. He's an adjunct professor of trial advocacy at the Osgood Law School. He is an instructor with intensive trial advocacy workshop and a guest instructor with the University of Notre Dame Trial Advocacy Program. Much more lately, he was appointed to the Ontario Court of Justice on December 2, 2009 as a judge, and to the Superior Court of Justice again as a senior judge on July 8, 2013. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct privilege and honor to present to you the Honorable Mr. Justice Steve Coroza.
A lovely introduction. You should know Winston Lim himself served with distinction as a member of the Immigration and Refugee Appeals Board for 35 years, and I understand that he just recently retired. His retirement obviously is his gain and his family's gain, but it is the public's loss. He served in that position as an adjudicator with distinction. At the outset, let me say that it is a delight to have been given the prestigious honor to give the after-dinner address. It is nice to say hello to friends who are in the audience and to make new friends among those of you in the audience. I was hoping to see my own accountant here, and I have. I want to ask him why Revenue Canada made a mistake on my last return, but we'll talk about that later. As Mr. Lim has pointed out in his gracious introduction, my appointment to the Superior Court of Justice is very recent. It is truly an honor to have been appointed to the Superior Court as a Filipino Canadian. However, I do not take full credit for that honor. It is the entire Filipino Canadian community who have been honored. My appointment is a reflection on the importance of the Filipino Canadian community to the federal government. It is also an honor for my parents, who, like many of you in the audience, immigrated to Canada in the 1970s. As I said in my swearing-in speech, like many other immigrants to the beautiful country, my parents came to Canada to find and secure a better life for themselves and the family that they hoped to have. They largely succeeded, and for that, my siblings and I are very grateful. The story of that success is what made me and what makes me a Filipino Canadian. Make no mistake, achieving personal and professional success in Canada is no easy accomplishment for Filipinos, and it is my parents' struggle that inspires how I live my life. The Filipino side of my identity was forged and closely nurtured by my family. For me, there are many things that make up the Filipino identity and make it very special to be able to call myself Filipino. Part of my identity is the premium that all Filipino immigrants of my parents' generation placed on higher education. Obviously, without a higher education, I could not have been appointed to the bench. In my home, higher education was not an option, it was an obligation. Even as a judge, I continue to learn and attend a continuing education, and I commend all of you for attending this two-day conference. All of you in the audience, I understand that you started this morning and it will continue to tomorrow. I commend you for trying to get better, keeping current, and your efforts at continuing education.